Hello and welcome to League of Loggers. This is Season 4, Episode 10. We are here to talk about Week 9 of the LCS. We saw a total of 14 matches this weekend. We had 4 bonus round matches on Monday, concluding the end of the spring split. We got everything locked in up until playoffs start. And the only thing that we don't know about playoffs is who is playing who for that first round.
We do know first round.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, Cloud9 had to pick within like 10 minutes of the final game ending.
Yep.
Okay. Never mind. I totally.
You want to do intros though?
Oh yeah, sorry. To my, I think
you're right. Yeah, I'm over there.
Whichever way. We got Curtis James.
Hey.
Below, that one I can't mess up. We got Coach Slippy, aka Jeff or El Jefe.
I haven't been called El Jefe in forever. That's a new one.
It's not a new one. It's an old one.
Or, it's an old one revitalized into a new one. How about that?
We've also got Jeff Fafa. We got a few of those.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
And yourself.
And then myself. Sorry, I'm Viking Redbeard, aka Chicks. So we've got all sorts of good matches to talk about. I'm going to go to the website to tell me what those matches were.
All right. So one thing I'm going to kick off, though, with, obviously we have all of our end of regular season standings, like playoffs just standing in front of us. So from top to bottom, we have Cloud9, and some spoilers for, playoffs, but, that's all we're going to be talking about today, so it doesn't matter. Or for those tiebreakers, I should say, rather than playoffs. But Cloud9, Evil Geniuses picking up the second position, followed by 100 Thieves, FlyQuest in fourth, TSM in fifth, Golden Guardians just sneaking in to playoffs at that 6th spot. Outside looking in, you have Dignitas, Immortals, Team Liquid all the way down in 9th, and finally CLG in 10th. So, by looking at those, the preseason rankings that Chase and I had put onto these teams, we had Team Liquid in first, Cloud9 in second, TSM in third, CLG in fourth, Evil Geniuses in fifth, not so bad. Sixth was Dignitas. 7th seventh Immortals, 8th 100 Thieves, 9th 10th Tie, FlyQuest, and Golden Guardians. So some close, some not so close. When I did go and break it down to see how many points we were off individually, I was off a total of 31 positions, with only 2 exactly correct. I had Dignitas at 7, Immortals at 8. And you had none exactly correct.
Yeah.
You were off 39 positions total. You were only off 1 on Immortals, and we were both off only 1 on Cloud9. So, yeah, the worst offenders, both of us being off 8 positions on Team Liquid. The next worst was you being off 7 positions on 100 Thieves. But yeah. And then there was the other thing we asked partway through the season. We asked, I guess, 2 things about Cloud9 when they were just crushing it still. One of them being how many losses they would take. I believe I said 1. I think we had all of us say like 1 or 2. So we're all real close because they ended up with 1 loss, tying the best season ever from Immortals and TSM, going 17-1. And then we asked how many deaths Sven would end up with. This was when he was still deathless or had gotten his first death, one of the two. And Chase and I were high and low each. I think one of us said 15, the other said 8, something like that. But Jeff, actually, from the chat, was dead on, along with Heather, who's still co-hosting with us at that time. And they each guessed 12, which is exactly right. Sven died 12 times over the course of 18 games this season.
That's insane. That's
It is.
Like, he went half the season without dying first, basically, but still. That's just absurd. Yeah, alright. So, let's go ahead. And we're going to get into something I asked these guys before we started. To pick a team or a player that they particularly wanted to shine some light on. Because obviously this season we've been talking a little bit about every team, but mostly about Cloud9, Team Liquid, CLG. Those teams, for the most part, have been getting a lot of the press, even FlyQuest at times. But, you know, there's a bunch of other teams in the league. That's easily less than half the league. So, Chase, let's kick off with you. Who's the team that you feel needs to get some light shown on them?
These guys got the Golden Guardians. They kind of just barely skated through on the skin of Hanser's back on slipping into playoffs here. Just barely edging out Dignitas. I was a little sad that Dignitas didn't make it, but I'm glad that if Dignitas wasn't able to make it, it was going to be Golden Guardians that actually did it. Golden Guardians, they kind of came through clutch when they needed to. They looked a little shaky for most of the split, and they kind of got their act together when they needed to. Hanser kind of slowly carrying the team. Closer in the jungle, just getting stuff done. I'm pleasantly surprised that this is how things shook out, considering I don't know that Golden Guardians has made playoffs since they started in the LCS.
Yes, they made it last year once, I believe. Let me double check that. Golden Guardians last year. Yes, they made Spring Split.
Just making shit up.
Spring Split playoffs is all they made. They got in the 5th slot, and they just missed as 7th slot, losing the tiebreaker to Optic in the Summer Split. But that is, I believe, the only time in their existence they have made playoffs up till now. And like you said, they did just squeak in. They played well when it mattered. This week they needed to win 2 games to get into a tiebreaker. They won their 2 games, and then they, like the way the tiebreaker shook out, they actually had the top slot in it, so they got to be the final boss. They didn't have to play 2 rounds of tiebreaker, just the one, and they won the one against Dignitas. They looked good. Honestly, their game against CLG on Saturday with the Ziggs support bot was so good. Would they win that like 25 minutes or something?
It was super quick.
It was
sub using the satchel. And, they were losing objectives all over the map, but they were just taking
turrets,
towers. Yeah,
they had 2 turrets down, almost 3 whole turrets down. It was outer bot, outer mid, down at 14 minutes. Almost had 2nd tier mid. It was just like Ziggs didn't have satchel backup. Otherwise, they would have had that as well. And then later on, they're just like shoving through. Every time they got Herald, it's like, well, there goes 2 turrets because Ziggs satchel. It was gross.
Yep, nope, that was very awesome. I'm glad that CLG just kind of gave them that freebie there. I mean, it wasn't quite a freebie because they were taking all the dragons, but they didn't get rift, and they were kind of sucking everywhere else on the map. So,
and I think Golden Guardians definitely earned that win. It was a good strategy. They played well, and then they had to play FlyQuest the next day, and they looked good. They just played well. Like FlyQuest didn't, shit the bed or anything, and it wasn't like they were playing CLG. I think they just looked good on Sunday, and then of course on the tiebreaker on Monday against Dignitas.
Yeah, beating FlyQuest was awesome. That was definitely something I was not expecting to happen. I don't think on a normal day Golden Guardian should beat FlyQuest, but they came in when it mattered, and FlyQuest just kind of looking pretty crummy towards the end there. I don't know.
Yeah, they definitely had some downturn, but I mean, do you have anything else particular you want to say about Golden Guardians other than just like appreciating their run to make playoffs, or what you expect from them in playoffs?
Well, they are playing.
We don't know who they're playing yet.
Oh yeah, they got
or no. Yeah, because they're round 2. They're in the lower bracket, so playoffs are a little weird this year for everyone who hasn't looked at it yet. So the way it is the number 1 and 2 teams, so the number 1 team gets to pick between the number 3 and 4 teams. So in this case, Cloud9 picked 100 Thieves, which was actually the number 3 team, leaving number 4 FlyQuest for Evil Geniuses. Those 2 matches will play, everything's best of 5s. The losers of those matches then drop to the lower bracket to face 5 and 6. So TSM and Golden Guardians in this case. So the advantage of being 3 and 4 was you're still in the double elimination side of the bracket. So Golden Guardians and TSM, they start in that lower side. You lose, you're out down there. So It's a little riskier, obviously, but it's better to make playoffs than miss them entirely.
Yep.
But yeah, so they'll face. I'm not sure because the way it was described at the beginning was that the higher seeded team that falls down will face the number 6 team, or that's the way it looked like they were doing. So it would be, Golden Guardians will face whatever the highest seed that loses is. But then the way the bracket was shown is that TSM plays the loser of Cloud 900 Thieves. So I don't know if it's been clarified which one of those is exactly right.
Yeah, their website's a little bit unclear currently, so...
Yeah, so, I mean, the most recent thing we've been shown is TSM plays the loser of Cloud 900 Thieves, and Golden Guardians plays the loser of Evil Geniuses and FlyQuest. So, that's what I would go off right now.
Yeah, nope, I don't have much else. Golden Guardians, I hope that they do well going forward. Do we have a week off or 2 weeks off?
New. Started right away this
Jumps
Saturday.
right into this weekend.
Oh, hot damn. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, and playoffs will take place over 4 weeks, so.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Okay.
And summer playoffs will take 5 weeks. But yeah,
Not a fan.
Yeah. So because it's going to be, those 2 matchups we already know this weekend. Next weekend, it'll be the winners of the 2 matchups that we know, as well as the 2 new matchups in the lower bracket. So those 3 games will take place next weekend. Then the next lower bracket one to determine who goes to the final. I think that's the way to. There's a week off somewhere in the top bracket, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it is. Anyway, Jeff, who was your choice for where you wanted to shine the light?
Okay, well, actually, I thought about it. I want to point out 2 of them.
All right.
Both are junglers, actually. And the first one I'm going to go with is Svenskeren on Evil Geniuses.
Okay.
Yes, Jizuke is popping off. And there's a reason why he's popping off. It's because Sven is doing correct jungle pathing, and he's getting the ganks in when he needs it, whether that be top lane, bottom lane, or mid lane, even, I'd say. He's helping Jizuke where he can get his roam in and everything, and that's what is allowing Jizuke to pop off.
Yeah.
I
mean, we all know Svenskeren's a good jungler. He's last split's MVP when he was back on Cloud 9. And he was able to make, Niski and Sneaky and Licorice look really good. So it's not terribly surprising that when that team finally gets it all together that he's able to help, somebody who is very good like Jizuke look as good as he looks right now.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, he's doing a great job helping Jizuke do that, I think. So I wanted to point him out with Evil Geniuses. I mean, they're second in the league. Kudos to them, new team coming in. You got 3 of former Cloud9 members on there,
Yeah.
So it's a hyperbolic time chamber for Cloud9 treatment right there.
I enjoyed the memes I saw online where when Cloud9 is both first and second seed heading into playoffs.
Yeah, where it's Cloud9 and Cloud9 Light.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the other one, on 100 Thieves, Meteos.
Mm-hmm.
His pathing has been dead on. He's gotten everywhere he needs to be on the map, right when he needs to be. It allows them to go ahead, keep going forward. He's not even really focusing on one particular lane, I don't think. I think he's kind of focused on global map, which... Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's a great thing because it allows him to be like, okay, I can pay attention to this lane if I need to. I can pay attention to this lane if I need to, Yeah,
I feel like his team fighting's been really improved in the second half as well. I mean, 100 Thieves in general has been incredible in the back half of the split. The first half of the split, they went 3-6. And in the back half, they've been 7-2, which is only a game behind Cloud9 at 7-1. Like,
right.
Outside of the tiebreaker loss to EG, which isn't including that 7-2. Like, if I include the tiebreakers, then yeah, they were 9-3. I'm sorry, 8-3. But still, it's like, okay, they had lost to Liquid in week 6, Cloud9 in week 8, and then EG in the tiebreaker late week 9. Like, they've looked very, very good as of late. So a lot of credit there, and I think that team, both those teams, 100 Thieves and EG, kind of have meshed well in the back half and looked really good. And it's not terribly surprising that, the junglers are a big reason that's happening, and also that those teams are placed second and third right now because they are the hottest hands in the league outside of Cloud9.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the one I wanted to put a little light on, actually, a team normally you would be talking about a ton, and we've mentioned here and there, but TSM for me, because they have been so incredibly inconsistent. It's not a bright good light I want to shine on them. It's a big old, you know, like how there's the bat signal. If the Riddler would shine a question mark in the sky, that's what I'm shining on TSM. It's just a missing ping, because this team, I mean, we like the one or two times we mentioned them, they're like, oh, they look like the best second best team in the league, and then it's followed by, well, I don't know what this is, and like there's not a whole lot to say on them. And at this point, we reach the end of the season. They're 9-9, so dead on 500 record. They weren't involved in any of the tiebreakers because they were just flat in 5th place. And I just have no idea what to feel about this team. I mean, first half of the split, they went 5-5. Second half of the split, they went they went 5-4. Second half, they went 4-5. Like, they had beaten Cloud9 and FlyQuest in the same week, and everybody's like, all right, yeah, no, this team's second best. And then they beat Golden Guardians, lost to Immortals, and we're like, oh, that's their first one in 1 week. Haha. No comment. And then they lost to 100 Thieves and Dignitas. 100 Thieves, great. You know, that obviously makes sense now why that team is ranked above them, because they're hotter right now. They're better right now. But they lost to Dignitas, who barely failed, to Golden Guardians' benefit, to make it into playoffs.
TSM is another team that I am incredibly excited that they are floundering. Like, I mean, they still made it into playoffs, and like they came in at the 3rd place slot.
5th place.
They're 5th place slot. Yeah. They've historically been number 2, number 3 in the league. After neutering every jungler they've ever had.
And they have Dardoch now, who I don't feel like they've neutered this year.
No, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think that Dardoch is probably the first jungler that they have not forced into playing only Sejuani or Trundle, or things that are very like safe or slow. I don't know what the term I'm looking for is, but they tanky, yeah.
Nice.
Slow tanky, not aggressive. And I feel like Dardoch's kind of like free reign maybe is hindering them a little bit, because like they're so used to playing around a certain kind of jungler, and when you like leave all of the other components of the team the same, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna let the jungler kind of do his thing this year, everyone else is playing the same, and jungler's playing very different. So like I think that TSM they've got talent, and I think that they will figure it out, but they need to account for how differently Dardoch is playing versus every other jungler they've ever had.
So where do you think either their current shortcoming is, or what do you think they need to change in order to be good? Because we've seen them be good. We've also seen them be bad, and that's how they end up right in the fucking middle.
I don't know. I think that they need to figure out how to play with Dardoch a little bit better. Like, I mean, when you've got a hyper-aggressive jungler, and he's trying to do hyper-aggressive things, but your team isn't always there to back you up, like...
So, like, you want them to invade more, or, like, skirmish in river, things like that?
Yeah, I just want them to be a little bit more aggressive.
Okay.
Like, they've been a little too on the passive side. Like,
yeah,
with everyone except for Dardoch, they've been a little passive.
I would say Broken Blade's been aggressive with him a bit too. Like, I mean,
and that makes sense. Like, you've got your top laner there, and
yeah, it feels like that's the only lane they've carried through for the vast majority of the season is like Dardoch and Broken Blade getting shit off. But like Bjergsen, he's been really almost absent this split, which is super weird to say about Bjergsen. So I hesitate to say it. Like, he hasn't been bad. Like, it's not like, you know, Aka where you're like, oh man, they lost mid lane, but like, he's Bjergsen. You expect him to, like, win stuff for him.
Pop off.
Yeah, I don't feel like I've seen that. Are you kind of feeling the same way about it?
Yeah. Yep. I can agree with you there. I just think that their passive way of playing, like, they play a little bit slower than Well, I'll say that they play about as slow as TL does, but they're not able to capitalize on the other team's mistakes as well. But now that the meta is
The way
completely
previous
different,
TL did, anyway.
yeah, in the prior meta, it worked very well for both of these teams, and the current meta, I just feel like they haven't quite adapted to it yet.
Right.
Which is weird to say now that we've got 9 weeks in, 18 games under people's belts. They've scrimmed, they've played solo queue. Like, it's just absurd that they're still not quite jiving the way they need to.
Yeah, I mean, lucky for them being in that 5th slot in the playoffs. Like, it's a good news, bad news kind of thing where it's bad news that you are not able to lose a series. You don't get that, extra life, but they get a week to prep, I guess. I don't know. I this team's weird because I agree with you. I think like Dardoch hasn't been neutered yet. Hopefully it doesn't come to pass, for them. But like he's been aggressive. I think they've been playing through Broken Blade well. Although I feel like Broken Blade has been much better on like Set and Aatrox than he has on almost any other character. I guess his Rankton's been fine too, but like it feels like a semi-limited pool that he's gonna pop off on. And like while Bjergsen, I think he's undefeated this split on Syndra. Like, cool, throw a ban at Syndra, throw a ban at Set. Like, all of a sudden I just took away a lot of power from your team. I know Kabe is new to NA. I know Biofrost, he was on TSM previously, but you've got 2 players who are new to the team this split, and for this split. They obviously didn't lane together previously. I haven't seen that lane be anything other than weak side so far. Like, they don't win the lane. They don't necessarily lose the lane, but they also don't do, like we've seen other weak bot sides or weak side bot lane duos where, they manage the lane and then they show up to team fights big. It feels like I've seen 2 games this split where Kabe's been big in the late game. But usually that's also because, Broken Blade's getting into the big fight and he's able to just, CC people with Set or whatever, and then it allows Kabe to like pop off in the fight because everybody has to pay attention to Broken Blade. So I agree with Chase. I think that this team needs an identity. Not to say that, playing through top and jungle is bad, but they need more than that. They need to have more than this one facet because teams can shut down that facet. Like, that facet's not good enough to just win no matter what. It's not like Team Liquid's bottom lane was last year, where it's like, well, Double Lift and Core JJ are going to carry, and you can't stop them, so you need to find another way. Broken Blade and Dardoch are not that. I mean, maybe they can become that, but the rest of the team needs to be doing something else to help make that happen. We need to see where, Bjergsen is winning his lane so that, they can put jungle pressure on top all day and just camp it because, well, Bjergsen's fine anyway. Or the same from bot lane. Like, one of those lanes either has to win or they have to be, like, doing roams or swaps or something if their whole goal is going to be just win through top, which is new to TSM too. I feel like there's just a lot of finding a new identity on this team, and I don't know that they're going to get it together in time to beat the teams that are hot right now, like 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses. But, it's TSM in playoffs. They usually do really well in best of 5s. You've got a veteran like Bjergsen, so I don't count them out. But I also think they're going to be better next split than they are right now.
It's really weird that the teams that have had some moderate success this year are the teams that are completely redrafted teams from last split.
Yeah.
With the exception of Cloud9. Cloud9, they have
There's
three
new
players
positions. So over half their team is new.
Okay. Well, yeah. The teams that are...
I guess
floundering
Blabber is a half. We'll say 2.5 positions.
We've got Team Liquid that only made one change, and Liquid has done nothing but poop themselves.
CLG made one change.
They made one change.
Well, no, they made 2. They made mid and support, and then they changed their mid again. But yeah, 2 changes at the start of the season.
TSM, I feel like they've got largely the same.
3 changes, jungle and bot duo.
Never mind. What I'm saying doesn't make sense then.
No, I mean, but like they're the best performing players on their team stayed, and
Yeah.
because you look at Liquid, CLG, and TSM, and with the changes they made, everybody was saying, "Oh, these are upgrades," or at least like with Xmithy, Broxus, some people were saying side grade. With Smoothie, Biofrost, people were saying side grade, but like, oh, Kabe coming in for Sven. Well, Sven hadn't performed, so people were like, upgrade. Dardoch over Grig and Acadian, upgrade. I said the TL one already, CLG. It was Brady and Crown, who had, people thought, like, no, he's better than Power of Evil. So people were saying upgrade, maybe side grade. And then Brady and Smoothie for Biofrost, people were saying side grade, upgrade. So, like, all these teams were supposed to have been at least slightly better. And the best performing one is 5th place. The other two are 9th and 10th.
Yeah.
And then you have, like, Cloud9, where people are like, oh, you're bringing in Sven? Oh, Vulcan's unproven. Oh, you're getting rid of Sven Skarin, MVP for Blabber, who has been a coin flip, and they lost a game.
Yeah, Cloud9's really amusing to me because after last split, I would have said that Sven and Vulcan were a little bit on the washed up side of things. Like they didn't perform.
Vulcan not washed up because I mean he was coming over from Clutch and fairly new, but Sven, yeah, people always said that about Sven, absolutely.
Like I mean they're just not great players, and they're much better picks that you could have had, and then they just come in and pop off and just below all expectations that I had for Cloud9 being painfully mediocre this split.
12 deaths.
Yeah, no, I mean, super kudos to Sven and Vulcan, because I had written that bot lane off week 1. Like, I mean, before week 1. Like, as soon as I saw them play, I was like, oh, never mind. I was terribly incorrect.
Yeah, I don't know, man. All right, well, let's move away from the teams we wanted to highlight. And it's already been talked about a little bit, but it's something that needs to be talked about because we're not going to talk about them the rest of the split. Let's talk about the failure that has been Spring Split of Liquid. This team,
here we go,
4-time champion. Bring in Broxa. There was, cool stuff where they didn't get him right away and blah, blah. That doesn't matter. We're going to look past all that. Doesn't matter. They didn't end up just missing playoffs. They weren't even in the 3-way tiebreaker for playoffs. They needed to win one game this week. They lost to FlyQuest. They looked good actually against Cloud9, but that good isn't enough against Cloud9 this split. And they missed entirely. They ended up 9th. The only team worse than them was CLG, who made a change mid-season and mid, and has looked, better since then. I don't know if I would say they're better than that last game we saw of Liquid by any means, but what does this mean for this organization? What should they be doing going ahead? Anything, any just thoughts on this? Because it is the biggest disappointment of a team ever in the LCS, bar none.
It is, bar none. But in my opinion, here's what I saw. That last match they had against Cloud9, it felt like Double Lift was actually on form. I mean, everything was just clicking for them. There was a little while where I was like, oh shit, they might actually pull this off. Yeah. And beat Cloud9 for their second loss. Honestly, I think if they can play like that over off split, season off split, whatever you want to call it, get that together, do that during scrims, and look like that TL, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, just like Cloud9 next split. And then hopefully, if those two are at the top of the league and everything, they force the other teams to do better. Because let's face it, with Cloud9 going almost undefeated throughout the entire split, every team needs to look that good or better to beat Cloud9. So, do they have the potential to do it? I think so. Change anything around? Figure out what made them play like they did against Cloud9. Was it the motivation of making playoffs? Was it the motivation of, oh, hey, this is Cloud9. If we take them down, we look that much better. We you're still going to be the laughingstock, but not as much. You'd at least make playoffs too. So, I mean, whatever gave them that motivation to do as well as they did against Cloud9, if they can find that in the off season, that's what they need to do. That's what they need to find.
Chase, thoughts?
I don't know that they really need to make any changes like to their team in terms of like who's playing. However, they just all need to get on the same page. Like they all need to like do some trust falls. They need to go. I don't know. They need to go do something. It's just wow. That was a weird. Okay.
Yep.
They just need to work as a team. Like it just seems like they've got like when everyone on your team is an alpha, like they all have their own opinion of the way they should do things, and typically that's not how teams win. Like somebody needs to be able to take charge, and the other people just kind of need to listen. It sounds like Doublelift wanted to make some calls, but the other people on his team were either hesitant to follow his direction, or they kind of just went off and did their own thing. Like when you're a team full of alphas, you all think that you are right, and that's clearly not how their split has gone. So somebody needs to submit. Somebody needs to be okay with being a beta. I don't know. Like they just, it's okay with everyone being an alpha if you're willing to take the criticism or direction from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can still be the big bad on your team. You can still be like the baller or whatever you want to be. But if you've got a shot caller and they're saying to do this and you're not listening, like I said, they trust falls. They just need to do something. Go put them in an escape room. I don't know.
Oh no! Everything locked up
on the same side of the map.
So everything locked up on my side on a moment. I don't know if the stream did as well. I hope it didn't. Sorry guys if it did. But we're back. It's working. But no, I actually just I like what you said there. Like obviously everybody on the team is a world-class player. And the weird part is that team functioned just fine with Xmithy instead of Broxa. Now, I think there's, all sorts of little things, like probably there was a little burnout. The off-season, instead of doing a normal boot camp, they're all like, oh, we're going to do our own thing. And like Corey JJ and Impact will, do solo queue in Korea. And Bjergsen was doing duo queuing with Broxa in Europe. And Doublelift was supposed to be doing solo queue in China, and apparently barely did any of that. I think a lot of it comes back to Doublelift kind of taking, the off season completely off and not taking shit seriously. Like, I think he got it, and it's not surprising after 4 splits of being the champion. Even if it went to the 5th game in the last 2 splits, you don't think about that. You think about, we walk through NA every time, and we bring in Broxit, we're going to be fine. And I feel like he got that mentality, whereas, nobody challenges me in bot lane. Oh, and Sneaky's not around anymore. I don't give a shit. I've got this. And then he showed up and wasn't ready. Wasn't even close to fucking ready. So, and then I feel like that then fed into what you were saying, Chase, about, the alpha thing, where, probably in the past he was making the calls because they were a very bot lane-centric team. He was probably calling for Xmithy to gank bot or, them to pressure so bot lane could do stuff. And he wanted to keep doing this year when he wasn't playing well. And I'm sorry, but if you guys both play jungle right now, Jeff has been playing more recently, but when you play jungle and a lane who's getting their shit shoved in goes, oh, come gank for me, it's no, that guy has 2 levels on me. If I show up, we're feeding him a double kill. Farm under turret, I'll see you in 10 minutes.
It's true.
Sorry, but Doublelift was getting his shit shoved in down in bot lane. By comparison, I'm going to go gank Jensen. I'm going to try and get Jensen ahead because he's the lane who has a fucking chance right now. And I feel like that, things like that were probably happening and not sitting well with Doublelift. And like you said, Chase, when you have all these, alphas, somebody needs to just, follow. And I think the problem became that we know Impact can follow. He plays weak side top all the time. We know Jensen can follow because he's done it on Liquid, where he played weak mid and like roamed and ganked. And we knew Xmithy did. I think Broxa can just fine because generally speaking, junglers are usually getting tugged around. Like that's just what happens. And I don't think Double Lift had the ability. Oddly enough, I think the maturity, even though he's in his late 20s already, I don't think he had the mental maturity to do that, to put his ego aside, realize that his lane didn't need to be the lane that won, and look for the best of the team. And I mean,
we
some
can
of the
also blame Senna as well. Like, I mean,
well, yeah, that, I mean,
but
that was
Senna
early
happen.
this season. Even late this season, that's when we were seeing him say, "Oh, I wanted to like call shots, and the team wasn't letting me." Well, maybe you need to just do what's good for the team. And I don't think that he was willing to do that.
Well, I think the whole Senna stuff the first 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, that's coach.
Like, I feel like
issue,
that was like, I feel like that was like an ego issue where he was just like, no, guys, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get at least one win. I'm going to get my groove back.
Oh, see, I figured
And
it was
then-
the other way where the coaches are like, this is broken, you need to play, even though he's bad at it.
Oh, okay. I guess it could be that way as well.
It'd be
I mean,
interesting to
on the
know.
outside looking in, yeah, it's interesting.
Because both of those are like, somebody needs to like shut up and realize what it is. Like, whether the player, it's like, no, you need to not play it because you can't win on it. Or it has to be the coaching staff going, it doesn't matter how good it is. He's not good on it. Why are we picking it? Like, yeah.
I mean, they could have at least given it to like Core JJ, let it be Senna support, something. Like, I feel like support was a little bit more nerfed than it was for AD carry, but goodness gracious, like there are things that could have been done differently for their first couple of weeks. And I feel like
Oh, yeah.
the lack of momentum that they had for those first couple of weeks just kind of like set the tone. And they're like, well, guys, fuck it. Like we've done this, and this is just how we're going to play for the rest of the split.
Yeah.
And
like you said, even those first, couple weeks, they pick up 1, maybe 2 wins anytime this split. They're in playoffs. Like 2 wins would have gotten them playoffs. They played 4
it's just
Senna
so
games.
Baffling.
Yeah.
There's no reason that they should have missed playoffs, but I'm really excited to see them not be there, just because they need to be kind of put in their place for a second.
Mhm.
Let them realize that, hey, like the game changed. It's not the game that you played last year.
Yeah.
And you need to adapt, because I feel like they are the ones that, kind of like you were saying, like they at least for Double Lift, he kind of skated by his off season.
Oh, yeah.
And didn't take any time to like learn the new map, like the new everything. Just like there's so many more unknowns and randomness to the way it works this split.
And just being in form. Like when you're
Oh,
when you're
yeah.
playing at the top of competition, like in Double Lift's never been somebody known for grinding. And he doesn't have to grind, but he has to play enough to be in form. And I think he took for granted that the fact that nobody's really challenged him in the bot lane in NA over the past few years. And then all of a sudden this year, like, you had Sven and Vulcan setting the pace that no one has matched. Like, not even fucking close. I mean, what, the next best bot lane is Cody's son and, who's even laning with Cody's son? 100 Thief support.
Tough
Oh my god. Yeah, exactly.
Page load.
That's Stunt. Thank you, Alan.
Stunt.
Yeah,
There you go.
Cody's son and Stunt, or what, you gonna say Turtle and Ignar?
No, I'd
Like-
say
Turtle
Cobb
and Ignar
and,
were looking like they were fire for a while, and then they kind of just
They've been pretty good. It's definitely not Kabe in Bio. Not even fucking close.
Really?
I literally talked about how they don't do anything to make the team win. They don't lose, but they
I
are
was just
not
gonna
one.
say this is
They are not the second
true.
best bot lane in the league. Absolutely not.
Okay. Okay, no, fair
I mean,
point.
Bang
Fair
and
point.
Zazel, they have
Bang and
potential.
Zazel have come on late.
There.
Absolutely.
They've got potential.
If you're
but,
talking
like,
the
they're
last
just not
3
there
weeks,
right now.
sure, I'll give it to Bang and Zazel. But, like, no, like, the bot lane in NA has been, like, bad. It's just been really, and granted, in the past, like, it's been kind of bad too, but, like, Sneaky and Zazel were, like, getting shit done outside of lane. Most of these bot lane duos aren't doing shit outside of lane or in lane, And especially when they face Cloud9, they just get rolled the hell over. And bot lane is not getting focus. Like, it's all, like, Niski roaming into, like, jungle fights or, like, going top. Like, stuff will happen bottom and everybody will show up, but it's not that they're going there to pressure situations usually. It's just, like, Drake fights. So, I don't know. So, let's move on, though, from Team Liquid. Quick talk, actually, because you did bring up Bang and Zeyzal. Evil Geniuses securing second. What do we all think of this team who has suddenly risen up and made second? At the beginning of the split, I said that they had, a lot of pieces, and if it came together, they could be really good. Halfway in the split, that had not happened. They looked dysfunctional. There was talk in the team of Bang saying he can't control all 5 players. Zeyzal saying that, Bang will want to make a call and people won't necessarily agree, and then he'll just go do fucking whatever anyway. All of a sudden, this team seems to be firing in all cylinders. What are we seeing here? Is this real?
They definitely look like they're working together. Did Deftly start earlier? Did he start the first
Deftly
half?
has not played at all this split.
Okay. Thinking about last year then.
Yep.
Yeah, no. So Jizuke, he kind of finally got his groove. Like, I feel like Jizuke was a little bit kind of like either hot or not. Sometimes he was both in the same game.
It's true.
I think he's a little bit more on than off in the last 3-4 weeks.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Bang and Zeyzal, they're carrying through the bot lane a little bit better. They had a very rough start, in my opinion. Svenskeren, he's a known commodity. He should be performing at the top level, and it did take him a little while to get up there too. So I don't know. I just feel like they had a really rocky start, and they were able to pull it together. They were able to work as a team. They did their trust falls. They beat their escape room in record time. I don't know. I don't have anything bad to say about Evil Geniuses. I am pleasantly surprised that this is where they finish.
Evil Geniuses winning the company retreat.
There you go. No, to follow up with that for Evil Geniuses, I think a lot of it was also Jizuke. At the beginning of the split, especially, like him. EU is so much different than NA is right now.
Especially in the mid lane. Absolutely.
Exactly, especially in the mid lane. So I think it was a little bit of that too for Jizuke, is he was getting used to the adjustment and everything. The NA is not as kill heavy as the EU and everything, and you see that time after time if you watch both of them, which I do. But anyways, I think a lot of it was him getting adjusted to NA, how that mid lane plays. That's why he was looking so sluggish for most of it, And then now I think he's finally gotten to where the point where he's adjusted. Everybody else has kind of fallen into place. Svenskeren, I don't know if it was lackluster, if it was just him getting used to a new team, something like that. Kumo, definitely kind of the same thing. He saw a little bit of stage time last year, not as much. He's definitely got more time. He started every single EG game this split. Yeah. So I think a lot of it has to do with those factors. And then you look at bot lane, Zeyzal, he's getting used to a new AD carry and all of that too. So I think a lot of it has to do with the team. At the beginning, like we were saying, it's a hodgepodge. And now that they're finally starting to kind of figure out like their little roles, how it's going to work, how the team works, it's helping them out, and I think that's why they're finding so much success, is because they finally figured out that formula.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I think it's the formula top to bottom. Kumo realizing he doesn't have to win his lane. He doesn't have to do for this team what top lane was doing for Cloud9 last year, where it was hard carries through top a lot of the time. So like Kumo has settled in where he's doing fine in lane, and he's showing up to the team fights at the right time, in the right position, and doing the right stuff. Bang and Zeyzal have learned to play with each other so much better, and they're generally winning their lane, but there's not many bot lanes. Like I said, most bot lanes in NA aren't looking great outside of Sven and Vulcan. Like, bot lanes aren't stomping, and I think it's also been a meta thing as well. And so I think Bang, that's a bit of an adjustment for him to not try and stomp. And Zeyzal, adjusting to an AD carry who is more often going to be aggressive in lane and want to win it rather than just play full weak side. So like those two have adjusted, and I think all of those things adjusting have brought the focus onto Jizuke, who early on was trying to make a lot of plays happen, and it's that adjustment. Like NA mid lane plays different. Like when you challenge your opponent in the mid lane, they're not necessarily going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to win this fight, let's fight right now, and then you end up with a kill. A lot of times the NA mid laner will play it safe, especially because there's so many inexperienced mids. Ryoma, Aka, like those guys are not experienced mid laners, or mid laners who have been good in the past and aren't really now. Golden Glue's not terribly experienced either, and he's a mid laner, you know. And then you have people who aren't at their peak anymore. Crown at the beginning of the season. I'd say Pobelter looks really good right now. I'm still not, wouldn't say he's at his peak though. Power of Evil looking really good, but whether it's peak or not, you know, like there's all this stuff going on. Whereas he was used to EU, where he's going to step to a mid laner and everybody wants to prove they're the next fucking Caps, you know, they're the next Perks, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And these NA, like, rookies and shit, they're not going to step to that. They're not going to try that. And Bjergsen's hasn't played that way for 4 years. And so he was basically overextending constantly because he was expecting the fight to happen, and then it wouldn't, like, he would just follow them as they retreated, and then it was too late because everybody would collapse. And now he understands that, and we're seeing all this side lane play from him. Like, his Rise game was beautiful.
Oh man, that's the type of game that makes me want to play Rise. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you get a head on CS and on Rise, you go to a side lane, and all of a sudden you're just like farming absurdly, and nobody can touch you. It's ridiculous, and we're seeing Jizuke hit that stride. We're seeing the team around him play appropriate roles. Kumo playing weak side, Bang and Zeyzal playing a winning bot lane, but then also, you know, is forming into the team game, and Svenskeren managing all three lanes appropriately for that. And we're just seeing Jizuke pop off. The dude got Player of the Week, Week 8, absolutely deserved. And I think this team is, it would not be surprising to see them make the finals.
You know, I could agree with that as well. And you know, you bringing that into whole perspective for do that, I think, and this is just my opinion, you guys can totally disagree with me if I'm wrong, or if you think I'm wrong. There you go.
I'm already disagreed.
Anyways, in my opinion, I think EG, the way they're looking now, are the only ones that could give Cloud9 a run for their money in the finals.
Like, if you're going off what everybody looked like in Week 9? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean a little bit, but I mean even just the last few weeks though.
Right, yeah. If you're looking at the last 2-3 weeks total, I would say 100 Thieves maybe has a chance, but yeah, like TSM's look so they've gone 3-3 over the last 3 weeks. Like, yeah, I don't count TSM in it right now.
No, definitely not.
If you look at the teams at their peaks, then yeah, like, oh, the best they've looked in any given week, then absolutely I would say TSM's in
or
the argument,
even FlyQuest. I mean,
yeah.
Seriously, if it came down to the last few weeks with FlyQuest, do I think they would be in playoffs right now? Probably not.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's go ahead and move on then. And let's talk about that first round of playoffs, give our predictions. Cloud9 picked 100 Thieves, guys. What's your prediction on this? It's a best of 5.
After seeing 100 Thieves play FlyQuest, I was like, okay, 100 Thieves is looking pretty okay. I don't think it was quite the most dominant game that I've seen 100 Thieves play. And then when they played their other bonus match against Evil Geniuses, they came out swinging hard. They looked so good the first 10 minutes of that game. And then the next 15 minutes, they just somehow lost everywhere. Like, I was just like, okay, 100 Thieves looking really good here. Oh, 100 Thieves lost that fight. Oh, 100 Thieves lost that fight too. Oh, 100 Thieves just lost the game at 25 minutes. What the hell just happened? Mm-hmm. Like, the game, like, it was kind of like night and day how they played against FlyQuest, and then, like, going into Evil Geniuses, I was like, I wanted 100, like, I actually really didn't want 100 Thieves to win, but I was kind of just rooting for whoever.
Right.
And then watching them lose, I'm just like, okay, they're not looking as hot as what they could.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like 100 Thieves has obviously drastically improved. Ryoma has finally looked like the player that he was brought in to be. Like, Papa Smithy brought him in saying, this guy has potential. And like I said in our offseason, I'm like, oh, who got the biggest win? I said it was 100 Thieves. They brought in Papa Smithy. He's going to fucking redo that organization because bringing him in is the reason they have Meteos again. It's the reason they have Cody's son again. It's the reason they brought in Zix as their coach. Fun fact, let's look at CLG last year. Finished second last split in the split. Who was their coach? Zix. They got rid of him. He went over to 100 Thieves. They finished third. CLG finishes last. Another one, it was Inero, I believe, was
He was on Echo Fox, Anero.
No, he was there was somebody.
Or was he on Golden Guardians? He was one of the two.
It's somebody, whoever is the coach of Evil Geniuses now. They finished second, and he was on like Dignitas or like Clutch / Dignitas, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, and like. There's a signal here that coaching and front office staffing fucking matters. Like, there's a reason Cloud9 shifts through players and constantly keeps doing well. It's because their coaching and their front office have maintained and been very, very good.
Anero came from Echo Fox,
okay,
and then he went to Golden Guardians.
So who's the one on Evil Geniuses right now? It'd be it's not Anero, then it's somebody else.
Looking.
Yeah, we'll have in a moment.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, no, just finding stuff. But what I was saying, like 100 Thieves, like they've improved because of these things, because they had faith in shit too. They didn't just like drop Ryoma because he wasn't doing well right away. Like, they chose him for a reason, they coached him up, and they got him there. I think like making decisions and standing by them is important. Like, I think when they benched Double Lift on TL, they should have kept him benched for a while, not a fucking game. One fucking game.
It's Irene.
Irene, there we go. Thank you.
Close to Anero.
Yeah, I knew it was an I. That's all I could remember. So yeah, Irene was previously Clutch / now Dignitas, and he left there. They didn't make playoffs. He's on Evil Geniuses. They end second. Coaching matters, and so I think like the coaching and the front office at 100 Thieves deserves a lot of credit for what they've done. I still think Cloud9's going to 3-0 them. Like, I like that they're taking aggressive fights like what you were saying, Chase. Like, they kept fighting, they kept just barely losing. And I think that that's part of what makes Cloud9 so good. The difference being the slight quality of the players and the way they team fight. Because we saw Cloud9 keep taking team fights against Liquid when they were behind. And, you know, you keep fighting, you keep the gold close, and eventually the items come in, and you do enough perfect fucking rumble ults in a 5-on-5 team fight, and you win. And that backdoor was incredible. We didn't even talk about that backdoor. If you haven't fucking watched it, just go watch the last 5 minutes of Cloud9 TL. You're like, oh, this Elder Drake fight, this is what's gonna happen. It's glorious. Yep. The comms are out now on the Cloud9 TL thing, and like literally, it's Vulcan going, hey, Sven, how fast can you take turret? Sven's like, dude, I melt turrets. He's like, all right. And Blabber is like, no, guys, I don't think you can take it. There's no minions. And they're like, no, we got this. Like, they're like, bait them into Drake. Just bait them into Drake. So, like, Cloud9's, like, stepping forward and throwing stuff and, like, making sure they're in vision here and there as they slowly step back. And then finally, when they know that all of, like, Liquid has committed to coming around this Drake, the call is, create chaos, we end the game. And they Kench ulted into the base. Like, they absolutely called their fucking shot. Which blows my mind. And it's because of stuff like that this team's just going to keep winning for now. Like, they're going to 3-0 100 Thieves. I think 100 Thieves is a definite threat in the bottom bracket, but I say 3-0 Cloud9 in this one.
I say 3-1.
100% 3-0.
I respect giving 100 Thieves the game. I respect that. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I'll even tell you the reason I think it's going to happen.
Yeah?
Okay. I think first two games are definitely going to go Cloud9. They're gonna, and then 100 Thieves. I think they've got good enough coaching and good enough players that they're gonna be able to figure out a formula that's gonna allow them to get one.
I mean, I think if you figure out a formula to beat Cloud9, you can beat Cloud9. Like, unless Cloud9 slightly steps on their own dick by drafting Shen Top, I don't think you beat them.
Hey, we've seen Shen Top work. Come on now.
But that's the one game they lost, is they stepped on their own dick and drafted Shen Top against TSM. I don't know.
True.
All right, let's go look at the other half of that bracket, though, guys. The other game is Evil Geniuses taking on FlyQuest.
One's
Okay.
a little bit harder.
Yeah,
honestly.
Chase, take the lead on this one.
FlyQuest has looked so good this entire split, and Evil Genius has kind of snuck by the last, 3 weeks into kind of pulling ahead of FlyQuest.
Yeah, back half of the split for Evil Geniuses, 1 game behind 100 Thieves. They've gone 6-3. Losses being to Cloud9, 100 Thieves, and TSM.
I really think that this one is going to be a little bit closer. I think this one actually has potential to go to all 5 games, but I'm kind of leaning into Evil Geniuses. Maybe I think it's going to go 4 games. I think FlyQuest is going to lose. I think FlyQuest is going to win 1 game, and Evil Geniuses is going to close it out.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think FlyQuest has looked a little shaky. I respect that as a organization, they recently looked at the team and said, we're good, but it's not that we're challenging Cloud9. We're just, beating everybody else who doesn't look, consistent. We're good. And they identified Viper as not having played very well this split. And they put in Solo. Solo he went 2-1. And they took him back out and put in Viper, and Viper lost. And then they put back in, or no, did they... Viper was game 1. They beat Team Liquid with him, but he didn't look good. And then they put back in Solo. I don't know. Like, it's all sorts of a fucking mess. Or no, it was Viper had beaten Immortals and Liquid and lost to 100 Thieves. They put Solo had. They put back in Viper, lost to Golden Guardians, which then made it so they didn't secure second place. And then they put back in Solo for the tiebreaker against 100 Thieves and lost that. I think the team, I said it about the Ryoma thing. I said it about benching Doublelift. I think you need to make decisions and commit.
Okay.
And as much as I'm not a fan of Huhi being subbed in for Keith, because I think it stunted the development of Keith, I respect Golden Guardians that they have committed to that, and Huhi has played since they put him in. And I think that's part of the reason they've made playoffs, is because they committed to a decision and didn't falter back and forth. And I don't like that FlyQuest faltered back and forth. If they play Solo through the entirety of this best of 5, I think they go 5 games. But I still think their hesitation means that they lose that 3-2. I think Evil Geniuses has just been improving consistently. FlyQuest, while they were ahead, they've lost that footing, and I don't think the team's, solid enough with Solo right now that they can get it done with him. I think the only way they win is if they play Solo all 3 games, or if they put in Viper for a game just to give him Riven, but I think most likely they play Solo all the way through and they lose 3-2. So 3-2 Evil Geniuses is my pick.
Okay. I'm gonna say I don't think it's gonna go 5 games. I think it's only gonna go 4.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be 3-1 Evil Geniuses.
So we're all going Evil Geniuses and Cloud9 then, huh?
Yeah.
I mean,
looks that way.
Not terribly surprising. Makes a lot of sense. And last thing, I guess, then, before we close it out, I asked you guys before today's episode to decide who you think your MVP is of the split, because it's decided on regular season. I didn't want us to get all playoff games in our head and change that shit. Because votes for like actual MVP, all these regular seasons awards, they are due before matches start for playoffs. So, who is your MVP? I'll lead it off by bringing up the one discussion of what is an MVP. Some people say, oh, it's the best player on the best team. Some people say it is the player who is just the best in the league, period. And some people say it's the player who makes the biggest difference on their team itself. I think with as dominant a team as Cloud9 has been, I have a really hard time saying that any of those definitions besides the last one isn't on Cloud9. I think obviously the best team or best player on the best team is on Cloud9. I think just the best player in the league is probably on Cloud9. For me, I think it's probably anybody but Licorice. I think Licorice has been incredible at playing weak side this split, but I lean towards Blabber and Niski. And personally, I want to. As incredible as Blabber has been, I think I want to give it to Niski because I think the play style that Niski has shown this split, no one else has been able to match it, and it makes all the difference in the world to the way Cloud9 functions as a squad. He has been roaming everywhere. Basically, he serves as a second ganking patrol, and I think he enables Blabber to be even better. I think Niski was underrated a little bit last split. I mean, I put Niski as I think my second best mid in the league, and he'd even like make top 3. I think he's so underrated that now that we've seen 2 of his junglers when like mid jungle combo is like generally what all teams do currently. We've seen his last split jungler be MVP, and Blabber is a front runner for this year's MVP too, or this split's MVP. I think Niski's being completely undervalued because he doesn't just like solo kill his laner, but he shows up everywhere else. And even just the very last game of the split, we saw him on Rumble dropping disgusting ult after disgusting ult. Those equalizers, there was like one bad one the whole game. Like seriously, go back, just review that game looking for whenever the Rumble ult goes on cooldown, wind it back and look at it, and every time it's fucking disgusting. Like he's hitting double lift with it almost every time, and another 2-3 people. He's always putting it like near a wall so they can't really walk off of it without engaging into a fight they're trying to get out of. Like he's just laying down the red carpet for a Cloud9 team fight every time, and I think it's plays like that he's done consistently throughout the season. His roams on Talia, like just he's playing all these different mids, and he's looking good on all of them. I give my MVP to Niski personally.
Saved by that.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I guess my pick was actually Blabber.
Talk about it.
Okay, so with Blabber, Niski, yes, you're right. He is showing up. He's got great team fights, great everything with that. Blabber, for me, is what allows Niski to get that roam going, too. Because he allows that mid lane to get ahead as much as he does. And then Licorice, when he is popping off and everything, it's because Blabber is giving him that stuff to do it. Or Sven and Vulcan. Same thing. It's always going back to Blabber, getting going in the early game. Yeah. You see it time and again. Blabber is where he needs to be. He's doing what he needs to do. He's the one that is allowing Cloud9 to win the games that, they have been winning and are continuing to do so. I think it's Blabber. He's doing an excellent job. Niski, even in team fights, you see Blabber right where he needs to be as that jungler to participate in it. He's not exactly output. I mean, yes, he's been caught out a few times, but I mean, you can't expect somebody to play perfect all the time.
No.
So,
I mean, I have no problem with you saying Blabber. Like the guy's everywhere all the time somehow, making all the plays.
Yeah, and you can't do that without getting caught out a few times. I mean, it's gonna happen. So, yes, you're gonna have a bad game or two, but I really think, if you're looking at an MVP, you're right. My definition of it is whoever makes a huge difference on that team, and for me, that person is Blabber. So,
Jace?
I'm also going to pick a Cloud9 person.
Oh, you cut out, Chase.
Am I here?
Yep, you're there.
Okay, sorry. I said I'm also going to pick a Cloud9 person, but I'm going to pick somebody different than the both of you.
Nice.
I'm going to lean into Vulcan for my pick, mostly because I had written him off even before the split started. And he came in and he just blew my mind in terms of how well he played, how not washed up I thought he was. Like, I honestly did not think he was a good player. And then he came onto a team where everyone around him is apparently of the same skill level or better, and it just made him shine. So I will tip my hat to Vulcan, and GG, mate.
I already talked to... I mean, he finally got Player of the Week this week. I don't think it was his best week. I think probably last week was, but Jizuke had popped the fuck off. Alan in the chat saying his would be Sven, and that's the thing. I think 4 of the 5 Cloud9 players are MVP contenders. It's ridiculous. But Vulcan, I mean, I already talked about how he kind of made that shot call on, like, dude, they've got like half a turret in the base, and I'm on support with Demolish, so I know I can take like a quarter of that myself, like even with the backdoor bonus on, because that's true damage. Like, he made the call of like, hey, I'm Kench, I can get us in there. How much damage can you do to this turret? But even if you just watch literally the last second and a half of that game, there's an Ash arrow coming in that is going to hit Sven, and like, despite the fact that they would kill the Nexus anyway. And, like, Zen flashes, backwards and then takes a step forward to keep autoing. But also, Vulcan flashes into the arrow. He face tanks the arrow for his AD carry, even though it probably wouldn't have... Like, he's just that innately good of a support player. That it's just like, oh, arrow's coming, flashes in front of it. Like, little shit like that. The guy's awesome. Jeff, to your thing about Blabber, do you know what the guy's win rate in LCS is?
Oh, not off the top of my head.
I'll tell you right now, he has the highest win rate of any player with at least 10 games. I think of any player with at least 5 games all time in the LCS. What would you guess it is? Give me a percent. He's played 22 games total.
22 games total.
Oh, no, I did that wrong. I'm sorry. He has 24 games total. Let me punch it in again. But yeah, go ahead. What's your guess?
78.
78, you're really close. It is 79. It's just over that, actually. He is 19-3 in his LCS career.
Well, I mean, you take it from this split where they only lose 1, and,
And he went 2-2 in his 4 games last year.
Exactly. So, yeah, I figured it was
summer.
high 70s.
Oh, I guess I didn't look at spring. Did he play some in spring as well? He might have. I know. Yeah, I know his... Oh, yeah, you're right. Actually, he went 2-0 in that split, so it's even higher. Like, the dude's win rate is fucking bonkers. But, yeah, I think all those players are ridiculously good. If you had to give it to a non-TSM player, who would you guys give it to? I think the front
Closer.
Closer? There we... Okay.
Say that again, Kurt. What was that?
If you had to give it to a non-Cloud9 player, who would you give it to if you had to?
Oh, non-Cloud9?
Yeah.
I would say Jizuke.
I think Jizuke's been really good recently. Personally, I think it's very important to look at the entire split.
True.
Which makes it a little hard to... Like, PoE was a front runner for a long time, but he's been a little weak recently, so I do still think Power Views is up there. I'd probably end up on Someday, because I think Someday has hard carried a handful of games for 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
I like that in those 2 questions, we each had a different answer, and I think we've all highlighted players who deserved it. So, thank you guys. Nailed that.
Hey.
But,
Almost like we tried.
Yeah, all right.
We got this. We got this.
Yeah. Well, I think that does it, though, for Season 4, Episode 10 of League of Vloggers. We will be back next Tuesday again with the first round of playoffs. So that's going to be exciting. Actually, one last thing before we go. LCS stock market. So I didn't have the numbers in time for us to do week 9, right? Because we would have been able to do a 1-week buy. So I've got 2 sets of numbers here. One, if we had, if we just stopped it after week 8, right, with what we actually chose, the winner in that scenario was Jeff, very quickly followed by Lucas, then myself, Chase, Ian, and Ducked down at the bottom, that CLG lover.
Oh, that's
Now,
CLG.
if we held the stocks we had bought through week 9 as well, Lucas passed Jeff. Chase got above me. I ended 4th. Ian and Halder ended up even lower. But I want to particularly make a mention of this because I know from the analyst desk so you start with 5,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone on the analyst desk, the winner was Jet. He was below 5,000 by like 300 or something. Jeff, either way, you and Lucas both finished above 5,000. If we held through week 9, Lucas was almost at 550. But you guys, week 8, even if you just sat on it, unless you like fucked it up real hard in week 9, which we didn't buy, and they did have the opportunity, but they were already below 5,000, you beat the analyst desk. So well done. Congratulations to you on that.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
And that actually, you have no idea because Jat's actually like my favorite analyst. So
I love Jat. Mark Z has finished dead last in the stock market every time, and Kobe has been second twice in a row. If he would have if he would have not bought full in on Team Liquid in week 9, he would have beaten Jat. And then the one other thing, predictions on the split. Chase, where do you think we ended up?
I'm pretty sure I did piss poor because I had a 1-9 week.
So it was the worst split for both of us ever. My worst previous to this split was summer 19. Actually, both of our worst were summer of 19. I finished at 57.78 then. You finished at 61.11.
I beat you.
No, that was summer.
Split.
Yeah. Yeah, you've beat me. Actually, you've beat me the 3 splits I have on record. You've beat me every split I have on record. All 4. Boom. So this split though, you did not. So this I finished at 55.56. You finished dead 50%.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Your end total was 45 and 45. So yeah, but we have still never been below 50% predictions. So there's still that.
And I had a 1-9 week. Oh my gosh, that's insane.
You've also had 2 9-1 weeks. So those were back in like spring of 19 when you went 64-44 and I went 63-33. We used to be better at this. All right, though, that'll wrap it up for Season 4, Episode 10 of League of Vloggers. We will see you guys next week for playoff discussion. Until then, cheers.